Hello, friends. Okay, good. The game is showing up. Hello, friends. I'm here just with Argo today.
With Argo and Argo and Argo.
And Argo! Yeah, so we're gonna get through this together. Just the two of us. We are starting case 2. So, I'm pretty sure we ended, like, literally right before case 2 starts. So, that's exciting.
Yeah, we are professional streamers, and with two of us we can do many voices.
Yes.
Episode 2.
Okay, wait.
The Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro.
Wait. Who's gonna take over Soseki? I guess you should, if I'm...
Yeah. I love how you started with, who gets Soseki?
I mean, at this point in the game, it's already been established that we're about to see him again, right? So...
We already saw him! Yes!
Yes! Like...
ガス灯の刻むほの暗い影の中、再び奇怪な事件が闇を切り裂いた。当時の新聞の戦場的な見出しを記憶している者も多いだろう。悪霊に見入られた死の邸宅、死刑囚の呪い、ガス魔人の恐怖。現場に駆けつけた名探偵は瞬時にその真相を看破するのだが
Not with hell luck.
それは悲劇の舞台の幕開けを告げるプレリュードに過ぎなかったのである。
Who is this wonderful person?
My name is Junosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer just starting out on my journey. Welcome! 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law. Having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. And let me live in his attic! Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy.
Like through Gremlin in an attic.
Yeah, he's a gremlin. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. Oh, Jesus. But there's a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, yes?
What? If they renovate the Old Bailey, is it still Old Bailey?
The new Old Bailey? I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale.
In the first case of somebody getting judged by perjury.
Yeah. A tale which was now about to awaken from somewhere, thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. Right, this is like him leading into... This is him leading into the flashback, right? What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs. It must be nearly time for breakfast. I'd better go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate. Shoop. Or maybe not. 30th of August. Yeah, this is... Good morning.
Oh, Bruno, good. I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready.
Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. I had a surprise this morning. Ah!
No other words, Mr. Naruhodo.
Ah!
This could be just the absence thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow.
Morning to you too, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, yes. I see. So that's it.
Ah! Don't get so close! Don't ever do that again.
The truth is as clear to me as a day. My faculties of observation have revealed it again.
What are you talking about?
You, Mr. Naruhodo, you have, this very morning, met with a surprise.
Ooh, okay.
Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest.
Isn't that just his hair?
Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button of your jacket.
Fair.
Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you having been flustered this morning.
Can I talk now? Please?
But of course, that I don't look for admiration, you understand?
Uh-huh. My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you, sir.
Oh, I just met you, and this is crazy. Oh, it has?
Yes. And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember.
Hey, Mahi.
By you. Hey, Momo! You did it! Herlock, it's your fault!
Hurley, pull your button off! Oh, that's naughty.
Oh,
Oh.
my.
Oh my.
Oh, my.
Oh my.
I wasn't so loud, please. Iris. You're embarrassing me.
Iris, you're
Hi.
embarrassing me in front of you!
Ah yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not?
Yeah, you did the sub thing? What?
What? Oh, you have a Subway?
A subway?
A sandwich?
Oh, it doesn't
Oh,
show. It
but
didn't,
oh,
it didn't.
didn't you get a gift because Momo was giving gifts?
Sony, Mifa. No. No, he's not on the
No,
list.
okay.
Yeah,
He-
no,
he
it
got the badge.
isn't in my. I can. Yeah, it isn't in my.
Like he had a badge, 2 months subscriber. I don't know.
Let me just
why.
reload.
Yeah, you are.
Hmm.
That's funny. On your, is it on your feed? When is Momo last like on your?
I'm searching
know,
for
some-
it.
Yeah,
Mohi's
because you
tip.
should have a list of events.
He's cheers. Mohi
You
gifted
should have it on
sub.
alerts, like an alert list.
Mohi gifted sub. Mohi gifted sub. I can't find his.
Yeah, right. It's weird. Like
That's strange.
because mine appeared right after I redid it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, now it did.
there it is.
Now it did. Yeah.
I wonder why it won't play though. Is there something up with my alerts?
Who knows?
No, there isn't. It just won't play it again. Oh my god, this has happened before too.
That's so annoying.
Yeah, this has happened before too. Sorry.
As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of haunting tune.
I'm sorry. I just panicked. Thank you, Mama! Thank you! We hit the goal! We hit the sub goal. Thank you so much.
Oh my god, we did! We have new Emma slot, and we still
Yeah.
didn't use the last one.
No!
Oh,
We have
no.
a new emote slot. Thank
Oh.
you, babe.
The
I
third
love you so
one.
much.
Now you need to commission other emote too.
No, I have enough on commission.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I
That's
commissioned
good,
like
that's
4.
good. So you can actually do double.
Yeah.
Tribute.
I can do double. Don't worry about that. Did you read this yet? I just got so rattled.
Yes. Yes, I know. Rattle. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped. Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder then that in my vexation I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from proper place.
Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket.
And it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is. Somewhere thereabouts on the floor, one presumes.
Yeah, you can do that, Momo. Please do that.
Oh.
I would love that. Yes. That's so cute.
Also, I'm not sure, like, Mohi, can you tell, I don't know if you listen to audio, but you could maybe turn me down a little.
Me?
If you can. Yeah, me.
Okay. Helpful.
Like 10% on Discord.
Yes, I am doing it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, just like, yeah.
There we go. Wait. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure everything works.
Mm-hmm.
You are so helpful, Mr. Sholmes.
What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unerring.
But Hurley, Bruno said it when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning.
Yeah, it's okay, Mohi.
It's
Thank
okay.
you for coming by and
I know you want to play this
laddie
game.
work. Arr.
I'll come do voices for you. Yeah, but you also don't want to get spoiled on this, right?
Oh, right. That's true.
So, but anyways.
Love you too.
Yeah, but when you play it, I'll come do voices on your channel. Don't worry about it.
I can come too.
Yeah. Hehe. Let's do it together. See you. Bye-bye. Hang in there. You can do it. You good.
Yeah. Well, that really is a surprise.
Yes. This man is the pride of the British Empire.
Self-proclaimed.
Self-proclaimed pride of the British Empire. The famous consulting detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Harohado.
Herlock Sholmes. That guy.
Herlock.
Yes.
Wunderbar.
There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name.
Alright then. Enough of this silly conversation. I'm gonna eat this bacon before it goes cold. Or else. And I have new herbal tea for you to try too. My latest special blend. It's gonna be good.
Ooh.
And here we have Iris Wilson. She's Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion. A truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful sensation here in London. Serialization here in London, that's so hard to say. Yes, The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, as published in Rand's magazine.
Mina,
She
it's a
nods.
TV show.
I'm done with my life.
Instead of serialization, yeah.
Serialization. I was trying to say serialization, but I could. See, I can't even say it now.
Serialization.
I can't say it!
Książ brzmi w trzcinie w Szczebrzeszynie.
Shut up.
Okay, sorry.
You're making me angry now.
Okay. So, Mr. Naruhodo, won't you put out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning?
Oh, well, I received a letter from Japan.
From Nihongo?
Oh, from Sissy, you mean? Was it? Really?
That's right. And she had some rather startling news, in fact.
Ah, intriguing indeed. You must tell us all about it over breakfast.
Ah, yes.
Ah, yes.
Oh yes, what fun. Funny!
Jolly good show, jolly.
Jolly.
Like Jolly Cola.
I should have gotten Jolly Cola instead.
Why didn't you have a Jolly Cola?
Because I already had a glass.
How
Because
could
this
you?
time of year, Londoners seem to leave their hearts alight all day long, and I love it. There's something very relaxing about watching the flames flit and dance about.
But a fireplace in days of summertime is a waste of space. Really no use at all.
Rather like a great detective in days of no crimes and criminals, huh, Hurley?
Ouch.
But consider this, instead of a fireplace, a frost place. That's my latest idea.
I mean,
It will be a icy fire.
uh-huh.
It will be magnificent and cold. An extraordinary heart from which emanates a cool breeze in the hot summer months. What do you think?
I think if you invented such a thing, your name would go down in history.
The principle is extremely simple. One must, of course, light a cold fire in the heart.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yes, of course. Brilliant.
The trouble is, none of the fires I built ever burn cold. How it taunts me!
So, as your British say, it's a bit of a damn squib.
I beg your pardon?
Tried my best there. Was that good? These are different pieces of it, and some
British,
cases you've solved,
Naruhodo.
aren't they, Mr. Jones?
Wait a second, are you really British, Naruhodo?
No.
Not quite, Mr. Naruhodo, not quite. These trinkets are a selection from cases I've solved with particular aplomb.
They're... okay.
They are souvenirs of my success. Memories, Mr. Naruhodo. Memories.
I see.
Memories.
Yes.
Memories.
Yes.
To remember.
Yes.
Because I remember.
Really? So, tell me about the case in which the bust of Napoleon featured.
I forget.
I see. Memories, he says. Wonderful, Mr. Sholmes. Wonderful. Doing
Wonderful
great,
memories,
sweetie.
I don't remember.
You're doing great. Good job, sweetie.
Oh my god. He's such a troll.
Just like the fluff text.
I can type in my eyes shut, you know.
I can believe it. When the deadline's approaching, you sound like a Gatling gun.
That reminds me of a dream I had the other day. It was such a funny one. It woke me, actually. I was typing for a whole hour in the pitch black, but I didn't make a single mistake.
Holy shit.
Holy.
That's incredible. It really is. Wow.
Incroyable.
But then, when it got light, I found that there wasn't any paper in the machine.
Iris, you're a writer. You should know that.
Now I wonder if I'd actually been typing at all.
I think you might just have fallen asleep on the job.
That's actually, yeah.
Yep.
I can see that happening.
I look forward to finding out what aroma your tea will have, Iris, every single day.
Oh, well, I infuse a different concoction of herbs from the garden every time, so it's never the same twice.
When you call it a concoction, it sounds more like a science experiment than something for tea time. Fair.
Okay.
Oh, yes. That's because different plants can have very different properties. Some can make you fly, and some calm you down, some make you feel jolly, some give you energy. Today's particular blend is something quite special, so you're really in for a treat.
It sounds ominous!
Yeah.
You probably... oh god, she's gonna kill me now. There are so many different bottles up there on that charming little set of white shelves.
Oh, do be careful, Reno. You mustn't try the contents of any of those bottles, even if you're hungry.
I wouldn't do something stupid like that. I'm not a child, you know.
Uh-huh.
Well, I wish I could say the same for Hurley. The other day, he polished off a full bottle of one of my alkaloids.
He what? He... I am...
Okay, so who's the child in this?
He said he was hungry.
I'll be extra careful. Sweats.
You should be.
Shows over in the corner like, yo, bro, I'm drinking some fucking alkaloids.
That's whack.
Nothing particular of note. No? Okay.
No.
The machine really is imposing, isn't it? But I can never remember its name.
Hurley calls it his great analytoscope. It can analyze anything at all.
That doesn't really help me. What does analyzing something even mean?
An extremely astute question, Mr. Naruhodo.
Sorry?
Well, as Iris said, my machine here spits out analysis results of anything with which you care to present it. But how to interpret those results, that's the key. And I confess, I have no idea.
Okay.
Clearly, I'm going to have to construct a great analytoscope to solve the problem.
No, I don't think that solves the problem.
But then I could...
That might not help. I know, right? I don't think that solves the problem.
Whatever do you mean?
Ah, yes, Mrs. Jones's faithful musical companion. Wasn't this violin made by someone famous?
Yes, it's a Stradivarius. Though I'm afraid you have to save up for 100 years before you could afford one, Bruno.
Wow.
Didn't you buy it for a song, Mr. Sholmes?
I found a pawnbrokery among the forfeited articles. It clearly said Stradivarius on the label.
And you just trust it?
Yes.
What?
Why would
Yes.
they lie?
Why would someone go into a pawnbrokery and lie?
Yeah, that's unreasonable. The ignorant broker had no idea of its true value, you see, so I paid a mere 55 shillings for it. Yes, I have something of a turn for shopping. Sherlock Holmes, bargain hunter.
Bargain hunt. Sounds like a TV show.
Bargain hunter.
But is it really a Stradivarius then?
But of course, my dear fellow, it says so on the label. Why would they lie?
I see.
That makes no sense.
I think perhaps the ignorant broker has something of a turn for selling. Oh yes.
Like imagine you are a broker, you see this thing, you know it's fake, but it has Stradivarius. Okay, I take it, right? And like,
Yeah. And then some absolute goober comes in.
Cooper.
Books, papers, scientific implements, each house of stuff to the gunnels. Miss Settle wouldn't be able to help herself if she were here. She can't stand a mess.
Susie might not be able to stand mess, but if she wouldn't dare touch those shelves.
Oh, why not?
Everything's in intricate balance. Billy spends ages on it. If you were to touch even one thing, the whole lot would come tumbling down.
Oh, pain.
Yeah, pain.
Susie noticed it was a very delicate arrangement right from the outset.
Make it sound like a meeting of great minds. But the truth is, Mr. Sholmes just needs to tidy up. You heard that, Mr. Sholmes?
Who?
You heard that you need to clean up.
That's ridiculous.
Sherlock Sholmes cleaning. Okay, I think that was all.
Yeah, I think so.
No, not all. Ah yes, a huge metal chest with a lace cloth laid on it, being used as a table for tea and coffee. It's very sturdy, that's for sure, and firmly locked shut.
That
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just whenever I go into her voice, sometimes it just goes wrong, you know?
And we're like, wah,
Yeah.
That chest contains my father's detailed records of Hurley's many cases.
Yes, so I've been led to believe. But personally, I've never actually seen inside.
Many cases.
But that's the way it will stay. Those papers are a secret between Daddy and me. If you go opening it uninvited, you might find yourself being bitten by a cat. Waggy, get over here.
What, is there a beast inside there or something? That'd be funny.
You know.
The truth of the Hound of the Baskervilles manuscript is that she's hiding that hound in there.
No.
That'd be hilarious.
And the Hound of the Baskervilles is an actual plushie.
Yeah. Okay, Mrs. Sato's letter. This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning by international post.
Oh, how lovely. Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it.
And how is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask?
She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won the case.
What?
Oh, really? Oh, isn't she wonderful? That's my big sister.
A cut up of your good self, my dear fellow.
I've won cases too, you know. Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness.
Natsume. No, I don't recall the name.
I see. Of course you do! We've helped the man twice! What do you mean twice? Is there something you haven't told me about, guys? Oh, I'm so mad right now.
Sweats.
You know, those two cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago. They're really
Cases?
You remember those 2 cases where we only showed you one and didn't mention the other?
Mina, remember this guy that is our mutual friend? You remember this guy, right? You remember this guy? He's called Michael, right? You remember the guy, right?
No.
What do you mean? You remember the guy? We're hanging out all the time.
That is really what it felt like, though.
Yeah, like.
But
wait,
I'm
what?
still like, fuck it, I'll allow it. You know, I'm that kind of person. I'm a son of a bitch. I'm in. You know.
Like it's just like a weird retcon, basically.
Yes, but it's one of those where it's like, son of a bitch, I'm in. You know.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Oh, the mustache twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and the mustache.
Yep.
The double mustache.
You are describing him perfectly.
But what if he didn't have a mustache?
You didn't have 2 mustaches, Hurley. Come on, that's silly.
Yes, who could forget those 2 cases? They made a very deep impression on me. We could never forget it, right, Naruhodo? Never.
Sweat.
Although I must confess, the details are really hazy now. So if you could remember me, what the hell was that about?
A very deep impression they made on you, clearly.
Yes, I was touched by them.
They touched me in an uncomfortable way. Bad touch, bad touch.
Startling news penned by Miss Suzuto.
Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Jones?
No! Yes, it's very interesting, you know. like Herlock is the guy who is 100% confident would say that he doesn't do something or he forgot.
Yeah, he's like, oh, that I fucking forgot. And it's like, okay.
I don't feel entirely certain that a case of that nature did not occur. But it's entirely possible that it happened.
He's totally forgotten then. Good job.
No, I didn't. Okay, I did, that's true, but...
Anyway, in her letter, Miss
whose
Sato
letter?
asked we read over her case notes again and investigate further.
So it took place half a year ago? For what purpose?
Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings.
Oh.
Why are you looking at me like that? Stop looking at me like that.
I'm judging you.
On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Mr. Sato's father questioned him about the case, she says. And something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send that telegram.
Oh, that case, yes.
What case?
It was very strange, wasn't it?
Will you tell me what this is about?
Yes,
I'm losing
Naruto,
my
you are-
mind here. This is. Oh my god, tell me.
Yes, Naruto, it was really, really brutal. After the case, you hit your head and forgot.
Yes. That's why he wasn't talking about it.
And I'd compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript for publication, too. But then Hurley here was all funny about it, remember? It's very mean.
No.
That story
These are-
must not be published, you said. Very mysteriously as well.
It gives you the idea, like, when you go to the room with your, buddies, and you sit around, and everybody knows something only you don't know.
Yeah, yeah, that's what this feels like. Like it's basically like the player is that person out of the loop.
Yeah, players just like, what?
What?
Am I needed here?
Yeah, like what I'm saying is that they could have. I think that what would have made this a little bit more sort of to give, because they did kind of do it by sort of like not showing Soseki going home. Like they sort of did leave that a bit open-ended, but I feel like they could have done better to sort of like indicate that there was a passage of time between case 2 and case 3.
Yes.
No, case 3 and 4. Sorry, 3 and 4.
Yes.
4
Also,
and 5.
like I really don't like the way it was kind of showed here, because it's like, oh, you know the case, in this case. But like, why do you do that? You know well we don't know. Like, you could end up differently. Like, yes, it was related to the second case of Natsume, and like not being like, this case you must remember. Like,
yeah, it's just.
It's like angled in a way that you kind of feel bad that you don't know because you're supposed to know it. Like. Instead of just informing that was the second case, we remember it well, let's go back to it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead it's like, oh, you don't remember? What do you mean you don't remember? It was such an important case.
Yeah, like they could have just like done it in a way that was a bit more like how to explain.
Yeah.
Sort of like they could have just done sort of that case
So
that happened. So the case that happened last year. Yeah, exactly. So the case that happened last year, and he's like, oh yeah, that case. Start flashback. Like that would have been.
Yeah.
I think that would have been ideal. But instead, it's like, oh,
It
you
feels
don't
like-
remember, and it's like, of course I
I
wasn't
The
there.
player doesn't know.
Yeah.
Like the game is showing that the player doesn't know, and after like brushing it on his face for a time, they just okay, let's go back to it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think it's more the presentation that makes it a bit weird.
Yeah.
I get that.
Really? I say that? Are you sure?
You perhaps know something about us as well, Mr. Sholmes. About why Mrs. Sato was suddenly told 4 months ago. Ah, Mama! Oh, head pets. Okay. It's working. Oh,
Nice.
yeah. Oh, the hoodle.
Also, Mina,
Hoodle
I
also-
need like a minute. I just want to grab some cold something from
It's okay.
before my
Wait.
throat gets wet. Yeah. Just a
Oh,
minute.
Hoodle won't go underneath. I was hoping Hoodle could get head pets too. Oh, thank you. Head pets for me. Oh, thank you for head pat. Okay, Hoodle, back on my head. That's what head pats does. Hee. Ooh woo. Hello. Argo's off to get drinks, so we're chilling. We're chilling here, Momo. Yeah, I'm doing just well. Hanging out, existing. That's the kind of life.
But why Miss Suzato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan?
Oh, nice. Okay.
Hello, Mama.
Hey, Momo. Okay, let's keep going.
It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan.
Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe.
That's right. Telling her to return urgently.
Yes, because her father had passed away.
No.
I don't even know to start about that.
He was just suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. He lives. Daddy lives!
Oh my god.
But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse. It was
Ruse?
Dad lied to me!
It was a bamboozle?
How would Daddy lie? That's so rude.
Daddy
A
lied.
ruse! Scandalous!
It's a perjury.
So Sissy's daddy lied to her so that she make the voyage back home? Why would he do that? That's rude.
I have to admit.
Fathers don't lie.
Daddies don't lie. I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. No, a doctor can't lie. Of course they can't. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. I saw you were live and wanted to jump in and say, I'm actually free on Monday. Ooh! Sure. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that. I wonder what Mrs. Sato's father is hiding.
Hurley, do you know what it's all about?
No, I'm leaving.
Oh, well, who can say?
He's just like, tactical
It's a wonder
retreat!
indeed.
Shom's over in the corner like, this is a tactical retreat. You're never gonna know now.
Bloody hell, I'm out.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. That's him right now. What? But you just said... But...
No. Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar is quite surprisingly full today.
He's so, like, running.
The stringed analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel, even if I were quite malicious.
Sorry.
So, when the fourth in my absence, won't you, Iris? Iris?
I will, Hurley. Don't worry. See you later.
Oh, he definitely...
Well.
That was a tactical retreat. You scuttled off rather quickly there, sassy wussy baka.
Holmes now standing beside the entrance to the freaking house and like, where do I go now?
I'm supposed to be quote-unquote out. Where do I go now? I can see that. I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. No! What made you think that? Sosuke-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes.
Aha! I found them at last.
Iris, are they...
The notes about the case. That's right. Sissy and I compiled them together.
Yeah.
The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Bruno?
Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case. But perhaps, if I read over the notes again, something might come to light.
That's the spirit.
And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation and that fierce battle in court that followed. Reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue. And I have all the time in the world. Tactical retreat. I know, right? That was such a tactical retreat. Like, come on. He was just like,
so
oh
shit!
right I just realized it's time for my paint drying watching appointment.
The grass growing.
See you. Sorry, it's time for my grass growing observation appointment. I have to leave. Goodbye.
I need to go gardening.
Because of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain.
Of the first case of perjury actually freaking getting punished.
Yep. It's like you committed perjury. Say it ain't so.
It was 6 months ago.
It was 6 months ago. A mysterious incident that unfolded in the wintry streets of London.
Stop in the back.
A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement in Briar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick, and nobody saw her attacker, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time, and was duly arrested. That man was Soseki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. God damn it, Sholmes.
Aha! Ta-ta.
Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Sasato-san and I decided to represent Soseki-san in court. And after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. And then the day after, he got arrested again?
Joyful jubilation!
Was the man's reaction after the trial. But his jubilant jubilation was short-lived.
Jubilation.
I feel so bad for him! We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. Hey, so that guy, he's been arrested again.
It's sus.
The victim of the Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to Bart's at once. I'm bored and in pain, what should I do? Figure out how to be in less pain? Please! I don't want you to be in pain. So, Sato-san and I summoned a hansom and headed immediately to the hospital. Please don't be. Do your best to not be ouchie hurt. That would make me very sad. What do you mean? Don't you have any Ibu or anything? I'm so sorry to hear that, but you have no painkillers or anything? Oh, that sucks. Hey, 21st of February, 5:30. This is a rat. This is a rat.
Excuse me, what?
It's a rat.
Yeah.
That's unsanitary. 21st of February, 5:30 a.m. Saint Bartholomew's Hospital Recovery Ward. What?
You realize what year it is, right?
Yes.
There you are at last!
But that doesn't mean I'm not gonna call it out. Mina will not stand and watch this.
Mina with your knowledge of the future.
Shut up!
I was born in the future, so I know it's unsanitary.
They weren't that dumb back then. That's an overstatement.
It's not about being dumb, it's about knowledge, Mina, you know.
Good morning, Mr. Sholmes.
I think not. What do you mean, good morning? What if my day was not good, huh? You ever thought about this, Salvador? Maybe my day sucked. You're late. What on earth took you so long?
Is the Momo, is the dono you?
What?
There's a donation. They automatically go to pending. Alright, then I'll approve it.
Oh.
I don't know if does it play? No. It
should, wait.
It should play, but it doesn't. I'm so sorry. I don't know if it's because it has a swear word. I don't know if that's why. But
you can read it. You can just read it then.
Yeah, it says, it feels like I'm birthing a watermelon out of my ass, is what it says. Yeah, like that's the only reason, but I don't know, because sometimes I just can't play it. There's also this one where Momo resubscribed. I can't play that one either. Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes, and it's from a 20-minute ride to the hospital. That's right, and it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time.
The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I have been waiting for what has felt like eternity.
God damn it, please just... Mr. Sholmes?
Yes?
Do you need a fidget toy?
No, I'm miffed. I'm miffed right now. Do you understand, Naruto? I'm miffed.
I'm miffed.
Yeah, this is the amount of free speech. Quotation mark and asterisk.
Yeah. Quotation mark, asterisk. Yep.
I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by telegram boy. And feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been roused at such an hour, I sent one to you.
Well, thanks for that. That's very nice of you, Mr. Sholmes.
Yes, indeed. Anyway, I started blasting. You're here now, so the victim is over there. She's only just regained consciousness.
This games look very steampunk, and yes, it does.
The Iris Sholmes thing is really steampunky style.
Yeah, exactly. Like they basically added. I think they wanted like Iris and Sholmes to look a little sort of fantastical in the
like
narrative.
the aim was like it's a steam time, right? And they kind of want them to become the tech.
This is Himbo Holmes, okay?
Yes.
This is Sherlock Holmes if he was a himbo.
You should introduce yourself, and I shall observe from here. Quietly. Hanging around.
So that's the lady who was found on the snow-covered pavement with the knife in her back.
Her name is... Oh yes, here we are. Miss Green.
What did you miss?
Fitting. Hashtag not my Sherlock.
Oh, come on.
Come on, he's my favorite Sherlock, honestly. Look, there's a photograph in this frame here.
Look at this photograph.
My Sherlock is not a himbo, my Sherlock is autistic. Honestly,
yeah,
the way this guy behaves! Like, you haven't seen him in, like, all of the narrative. The autistic part isn't gone from this.
He is on spectrum for sure. It's no doubt about
that. He is in more ways neurodivergent. He
cannot read the room at all. He cannot read the room.
Yeah, he can't read the room at all. He goes on tangents constantly.
Yep.
He has he goes from insane highs to complete depression in like 5 minutes.
Seconds.
Yeah. He is like the autistic part is definitely not like taken away from this interpretation of the character. It's just that he has like the more outward himbo-like appearance, I think. But other than that, like his personality still remains intact, which is fun.
Oh yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman.
He looks to be about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think?
My, Mr. Naruto. I didn't know you had a sense for matters of the heart.
None the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. This rounded wooden figure isn't the most charming, is it?
Oh, I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruto. It's an artist mannequin, I believe. Used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses.
Really? It's not exactly what you'd call a typical figure for that purpose, though, isn't it? Is it?
Wow.
Oh, come on.
No, I suppose not. I confess I've never seen one quite so full-figured before.
Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the job.
Yeah. Eek! A mouse, Mr. Naruto! An enormous mouse!
I think it's a rat.
A moose.
Vermin in a hospital. That doesn't seem the best. See! I'm telling you, they did know! Moose!
Moose!
he's learning.
It looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump.
I'm not sure we can say that's down to the excellence of this facility, if that's what you're thinking.
The words plump and blob just sound so...
Plump!
Oh, this looks like the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Do not feed. What is this place, a zoo?
You know, I seem to remember seeing an almost identical sign in our local park.
With the pigeons, yes. This is a person. Poor woman.
Oh my God.
I hope she hasn't read this. That's too much!
Yes.
Oh, this looks like the treatment notes for whoever is occupying this bed. Let's see. Do not permit to run around the hospital.
The patient doesn't seem to be here at the moment, so...
He or she's probably running around the hospital then. Wait, that's just inhumane! Yes! That's horrible!
Yep.
What? That's so cruel!
Oh dear, how worrying.
What's worrying is why they haven't discharged the patient yet. If they're good enough to be running around. There are all sorts of medicines in this cabinet. Look, I'm not sure if it's safe leaving them in reach of everyone like this.
Yes, you're right. I can imagine if you were peckish, you might try a whole bottle or two.
Well, at least there seems to be a little lock to secure the cabinet doors.
I don't imagine that would stop you if you were hungry. I worried that you'd break the lock.
Hunger doesn't turn me into a criminal, you know, Mr. Sato. Please. Please. Please don't be so cruel to me. There are lots of bottles in that cabinet, aren't there? Do you think it's safe to keep them like that?
If you were a patient here, I feel sure you'd take some medicine by mistake when you were half asleep.
That is a worry. But at least the cabinet has a lock, even if it's only a flimsy-looking one.
Oh, I've no doubt you managed to unlock that somehow while you were half asleep as well.
There are limits even to what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know, Mrs. Sato. He's just being bullied. Dang.
Right.
Oh shit. It's so inhumane, like wow, the poor girl.
That must be a bag of Miss Green's personal belongings.
She would have been brought directly here after she was found stabbed on the pavement, though.
I expect a friend or family member probably brought some things for her.
Alright then, let's see what's inside. Change of clothes, no doubt, and...
No, Mr. Naruhodo! You must never scrutinize the young maiden's personal belongings.
The young maiden might have chocolates, or biscuits, or caramel. Give them to me. I want them. I'm surprised we can...
I want them that way.
Okay, let's talk to her. Good morning. Ah! I'm just gonna be her. It's fine.
Thank you.
Hello. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. She does not look okay.
Japan.
Oh no! Was it your knife then? Are you the man who...
No,
wow.
no. I'm a lawyer.
I'm a lawyer. Who did this?
Yeah.
And I'm Sasato Mikotoba. Pleased to meet you. Oh no! Was it your knife then? Are you the one? No.
Oh,
I assure you, I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant.
We heard that you've regained consciousness and wanted to come to give your best wishes. Best wishes for me? Thank you. I'm Olive Green.
I can't say it.
I'm an artist. Well, no, that's not right, is it? What I mean is, I'm trying to be an artist. Well, what I really mean is, I desperately want to be an artist. But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back.
I don't think that's related, actually. Are you okay, girl? Yeah, I love her. She's a great character. She's like a very great one-off character. Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down. Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. I love her cute little coat. To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green.
It was so cold that day, and the fog was so thick. I couldn't see a thing.
Little Moot vibes. I don't know who that is. Little My something? I don't know what that is.
That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Moments! Oh!
A moment. Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been in comatose all the time. But the case has been solved, hasn't it? Well, I've been here in hospital, I mean. Oh, here he is.
Indeed it has, my dear madam. Spectacularly by none other than I. Sherlock Holmes.
No, he didn't.
Mr.
No, I did.
Sholmes, as you well know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work that in court that solved the case.
Like, I'm so glad Susato is on our side.
Oh yeah, for once. Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green?
Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly.
Oh,
I see. Me coming round seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. I should never have regained consciousness. It was selfish of me. I can't read her lines.
No.
They make me sad.
No.
Oh no, we're all so relieved that you're in the med, Miss Green. Really, we are. I feel so bad for her. With that kind of attitude, maybe her surname should be Blue, not Green. That's a good one. I do want to give her a hug, though. She looks very huggable.
Olive blue.
Olive blue. And she should be called Sapphire Blue at that point. And then her coat would be blue.
And Precure.
Precure! So, you're an artist, are you, Miss Green?
Sapphire.
Oh no, I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of art, really. At the Thorndike Academy of Fine Art.
Like, the saddest part about artists is like, you know, like, it's really hard.
Yeah.
And you hear all those, you have the success stories, but they don't but they don't talk about all this freaking bucket of stuff that didn't succeed and just had a real rough time.
Yeah, exactly.
All through it all.
Like, I do like that sort of the representation of an artist who's kind of struggling, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts. Great Britain is such a wonderful country.
Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts?
Oh no, actually, I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road. What was she doing on?
I see. How very interesting.
And then what brought her here? That's a good question. Oh no, is that?
To the hospital? I mean, knife.
Yeah.
Brixton is some 10 stops away on the underground from here. And Thorndike Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton town centre.
Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? Yeah, what the hell were you doing in London?
Perhaps not, but Bray Road is far less salubrious part of the town by comparison, dwelt in by those of inferior means,
Like, what the hell was she? Yeah.
including the maleficent Mr. Mustache.
Inferior means? I suppose Soseki-san does fit the bill. By not having money.
Stressed.
By being stressed and not having money.
It struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine arts student to be working in such a district.
Yeah, that's true. What was she doing in that part
That's
of London?
all. Thank you for coming for my TED Talk.
What's this? She suddenly climbed up.
Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself, prying into a young maiden's private affairs.
Oh dear me, do forgive me.
Go away.
If you don't mind. I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things.
Oh, yes, of course. We won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green.
If that's your real name.
Is there Mr. Narrow Fodder there? Mr. Narrow Fodder!
There's not any narrow folders in this establishment.
Narrow fodder now? Okay. Well, if you're looking for Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me, but...
Oh, Mr. Narrow Fodder! Good! This is for you! It's a mission from a Mr. Saucy Nutsmeg!
Saucy Nutsmeg. Saucy Nutsmeg.
That's so funny. I can't breathe.
Saucy Nutsmeg. What could it be?
Mr. Natsume, send a message to me.
How did you understand that? Saucy Nutsmeg. No, I demand of you, do not read that Mr. Natsume, Mr. Natsmeg.
Oh, I can't, I'm gonna cry.
A message from Mr. Natsmeg? Oh, please tell me, Naruhodo, who is this saucy Natsmeg you're getting messages from? Oh, please tell me, Mr. Narrow Fodder.
Help! But why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mrs. Natsume? Exactly, what's going on? What's the Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning?
Ah, what are you waiting for? Let me see that.
Oh! Ah!
Well, this is most unexpected.
Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes?
Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? He says. Have you not seen this note?
No, you took it from... No! How could I have? You took it!
It was... would seem that the Londoners have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls. A case of murder, no less. We must depart at once.
Ah, yes. Murder?
By numbers. Call a cab. Time is of the essence.
But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit at his lodgings once we did.
That would be entirely convenient.
Convenient? What do you mean?
He killed the guy!
It's all here in the note, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Mustache's lodgings.
Wait, what? Is it Mr. Gary Depp that's dead?
I shall hail. I'll hail a fiacre? What the fuck? Can you not just say normal words, Susato?
Susato, don't pretend you're posh.
It was only yesterday that Solsik-san was in court and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now, the very next day, there's some murder at the man's own address. He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. I know, right? Or so it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought.
Hello, I'm Saucy Nutsmake and I'm the unluckiest man alive.
Saucy Nutsmake. I want that framed. Mr. Narrow Fodder and Mr. Saucy Nutsmake.
Mina, I was kind of like, I was looking for like in the bookstore and I saw this like nice book called I Am a Cat by Saucy Nutsmake.
I'm gonna find a copy of the book and then I'm gonna tape a little piece of paper like next to his name that says Saucy Nutsmake.
You go to a bookstore, go to the counter. I wanted to buy I Am a Cat by Saucy Nutsmake.
Yeah. I would probably buy it in Japanese though, because it makes no sense to buy a translated version for me. Okay, 21st of February, 7:18 a.m. Mr. Natsume's lodgings, ground floor. Ah! Oh, he is definitely dead.
What do you mean?
He's so dead. What on earth?
It's a hangover.
It's a hangover.
Oh my! The gentleman is deceased, without question. He's dead.
Is that Saucy? That's Saucy Nutsmake.
Welcome, student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Welcome. Nice to see you, Saucy Nutsmake. Mr. Natsume.
Oh, that's not my name. Oh, why? Why is this happening? Why to me?
I finally just got out of the country! Yesterday! I was finally home after 2 days of misery! And then I wake up because they do this! No animal should catch a worm like this!
Awful worm without finger! So you're in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache?
Ah!
Not the horrible Hairlock Shoals!
Hairlock Shoal.
Show off! Show yourself to the door! I never invited you!
Lamau. I can understand why he doesn't want to see the guy though.
No. Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume.
I'm entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you?
Reggie.
There they are, already. The busybodies. Inspector Gregson. What a pleasant surprise. Pleasant. Gives me a hard one every time I see your favorite crimes and songs.
Yum.
Ha! I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food.
Fair.
Why aren't you a freaking...
Good morning, Inspector.
Wow, what a pleasant surprise. It's a crime scene, don't you get touching anything.
Or good morning to you too, Sunshine.
Don't call me Sunshine, fellow.
This is a very funny image.
Yes. It's like Natsume looking at the body and Gregson just wait, that was a party.
So you can finally get to see his insane shoes in the middle of February, so he's not even wearing... He's not even wearing...
This is like... I'm not even how to comment this. Oh, I said hands off, you're going to mess up my crime scene.
Oh, no, I just wanted to look, that's all.
No chance. I know you can't. Don't mess it up by just looking at it.
Jesus Christ. Ugh, someone's in a bad mood.
There's certainly some bad air in here, isn't there? Isn't there?
Alright, it sounds like I'd better talk to the inspector first and try to curry some favor. Okay.
Speaking of curry. Yes.
So, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he?
Well, Mr. William Shakespeare. He was a lodger here.
Ah, yes.
Totally unrelated to other William. As you can probably tell, he was an actor. A bit of a death loss, it happens, not just dead.
Mr. Shakespeare?
This was the landlord, old Mr. Gardep, and the lodger, on the other lodger, Mr. Natsuma, who found him. The fellow didn't rise at its usual hour, so Gardep got word and kicked the door down.
But doesn't Mr. Gardep have a bad leg?
Ah, yeah, you're right there. It was that jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking.
Really? Souseki-san?
The victim was pretty hard up, it seems. Even done some time inside for petty crimes. Had no money, no place to go. I know, friends. The only acquaintance were the people in his house. Miserable life and miserable end to it.
Stop doing that, that's uncomfortable.
No, I'm sorry, but that's a really good chips and fries. Oh.
So, what exactly Mr. Natsuma is still doing here? He's not involved in the investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene?
Well, I'm not saying it's because the fellow look odd or anything. Or that he acts suspicious. Or that he has a mustache. Because I have a mustache. But I thought it would be prudent to take statement from the cohabiter.
You nearly said culprit there, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Oh dear. Mr. Natsuma appears to be under suspicion again.
Certainly seems that way. He does just come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he?
Poor man. How unfortunate.
Oh, saucy nutmeg.
Yeah. Sussy nutmeg. How about that?
Anyway, I can't say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fella been going there that long. The body's still warm.
Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. Cool. Well, okay, I guess we... What a terrible thing to have happened. Jeez.
It's only been 3 days since I was sorry for the incident of pavement outside. And then, I'm finally regaining my freedom. It starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences.
So, the victim lived here on the ground floor, and your room is just one story up, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. In a way, we are neighbors, I suppose.
Huh. Did you know the victim? So did you know the victim? Were you friends? Can you answer the question? What's the matter with Souseki-san now? It was an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it?
I wanted to see a movie that happened in his head with this reaction.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. But did he ever invite me to his room? Never! On my honor, I swear it!
What an extreme reaction.
Just ask the question, did you know
You're
him?
probably wishing you'd never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruto?
Yep. When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is why I sent word asking you to come. To that inspector over there!
How stylish.
Indeed.
He blends in perfectly.
Where is he?
I know, right? Where is he? Okay, what is it, Mr. Sholmes?
Mr. Sholmes.
Mr. Sholmes? What are you doing?
Ha! You need only observe to know it, my dear fellow. Investigating, naturally.
there's nothing natural about that post. I think you might be full of shit.
Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery?
Patience, my dear madam, patience. We've not been here in this room 5 minutes.
What do you mean? I post like that all the time. I know, right? Extremely natural.
So far, all I've managed to deduce is that what actually happened.
Huh.
My goodness. But isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes?
Now that you propose the idea, I believe one could indeed see it that way. At the present time, I have managed to draw 2 incontrovertible conclusions. The first, that there was a physical struggle here at the night in which the victim fought for his life. Ah!
Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Is something that Mr. Sholmes said significant somehow?
No, don't mind me. Forget I was here. And my second conclusion is that there was a poison lingering in the air here last night that passed the victim's lips. Nonsense!
Alright, Mr. Natsume, why are you reacting to so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions?
No, please, pretend I'm not here. Invisible, ineffable, inscrutable, insignificant.
Impossible to ignore.
You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail.
But of course.
It's time.
Let the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deductions, presented for your pleasure in 2 acts.
We've heard some truly astounding great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the past. No doubt this will be no exception. What miracles will have found before our eyes this time?
So, my dear fellows, for your delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. Of Sherlock Sholmes, Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1. The game is afoot.
The game is afoot.
Cause of death. Careful observation of the victim revealed to us the events that transpired in this console room last night. I cannot not make it just like...
Yeah.
Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, you will observe, 1/2 of sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. Why is the soap set on purposely up on the dish, like the victim Last Supper, in fact? Yes. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. It appears that the young man's appetite was his undoing. Taking up arms in the form of this cutlery, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life. Yet the struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end, he couldn't resist devouring the slippery feast. But London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison.
He's really saying this.
Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison, detained on the contents of the plate.
Why is he dancing?
His dance of deduction.
Yes, this is his dance of deduction. Whenever he deduces shit, he starts dancing too. Yes.
It's the dance of deduction. The soap and the latter about the young man's mouth are too perfectly matched to ignore.
This is his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, aka it's the one-man show that he puts on. And then we interject and it's like, no.
Well, yes, but actually no.
Yeah.
Because of that was clearly intoxication with the excessive ingestion of foul soap.
That's hilarious.
So personally, I have a greater interest in the taste of foul candle wax, of course. Oiling from soap. Ingestion. Suicide or murder? The cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder? The audience will recall that death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone? The single teacup suggests the answer. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however. Certainly. A careful criminal could have absconded with his own cup to cover his tracks.
I wonder who that could be.
Well, allow me to leave the vial of doubt, my dear fellow. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock.
Oh.
But force open now. At the time of the incident, this door was locked. And the sole key was in the victim's pocket. In other words, when the victim consumed the poison, he must have been alone. Alone with his inferior soap, from whence wafted an inferior scent.
Jesus. He's really laying it into that soap.
And with that acrid aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end in tragic solitude. We can take comfort only in the fact that his foul, his soul was well cleansed on his way to the hereafter. I cannot.
This is so funny.
No possible perpetrator present.
That's an alliteration if I ever saw one.
This concludes the final act of Sherlock Holmes' great deduction.
Aha. There's just one thing, Mr. Holmes.
You're disposed to identifying just one thing, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what concerns you?
Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think the man would have eaten soap?
It is quite apparent that this man had barely a penny to his name. It is a curious thing, but to one so destitute, soap can suddenly appear quite irresistibly appetizing.
Is he speaking from experience? How extraordinary!
In truth, I have tried a little soap myself in the past.
You've eaten it, you mean?
My dear fellow, it was some time ago now. My postulation was that it would cleanse my gut.
And did it?
As I rooted in agony on the floor and spit the contents of my stomach? Yes, I believe it did.
Sure.
Experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous.
So you see, Momo, you see what we're talking about here? The man ate soap just to try it.
He ate it.
He ate soap.
It has an unpleasant taste and leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it.
Believe me, I wouldn't eat it even if you did.
There's something that troubled me as well, actually.
Oh, what's that?
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Shop in a freaking store.
It's
Sherlock Holmes not
It's
recommended.
Mr. Natsume.
Ah!
I couldn't help noticing him shuddering and quivering out the corner of my eye. Almost as if Mr. Sholmes' deductions touched a nerve somehow.
No, nonsense.
Well, the clenched teeth episode didn't last.
I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, the great detective's deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth.
Gentle corrections. Yes, Mr. Sholmes' observations and deductions are sometimes a little too sharp. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it in an obtuse angle. When he does that, it falls up to us to straighten things out. Alrighty then, let's see what we can do.
Yes, we must pick out the keywords in Mr. Sholmes' quite brilliant deductions, and discreetly exchange them for something that makes a little more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll arrive at what Mr. Sholmes meant to say in the first place.
Sure.
In that case, are you ready for the second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, for your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Hell Actions, Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1.
Hold it!
Hold it, Mr. Schultz!
Wait a demon minute. Wait a demon second, Charles. That's not correct. Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the event that transpired in this disconsolate room last night. Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, you will observe, 1/2 of sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. Why is this soap so purposely upon the dish? But the victim last supper, in fact? Yes. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, that fork reveals the answer.
Well, you can't deny that a fork implies the man was eating something or about to eat something.
Yes, that's true. If I were to decide to eat some soap, I should prefer to use a fork rather to attempt to chip with chopsticks.
And of course, only have the bar of soap if left on the plate.
But might there not be some other explanation? Something material that proves whether or not the man really ate some soap.
Oh, maybe we should look for the other half, then. Oh, there it is. Sorry, that's so difficult to deal with. Come on. There it is. Look! There's more soap on the floor here. Mr. Shamesbury must really have left the stuff.
Let's not jump to conclusion, Mr. Naruhodo. Look closely at the soap. You see that it will fit together perfectly with the half bar on the table.
What the? How can that be?
I think he didn't eat it. But they are two halves of the same bar that broke apart.
Okay, then... definitely present it. We danced too! Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course! The other piece of soap reveals the answer.
It being the other half of the soap on the table. In short, the victim was not eating soap at all. It is obvious, really, for no depths of hunger could drive any man to attempt to eat soap. Naruhodo is like, this fucking guy!
Said quite bold words for the man who ate soap.
And who just seconds ago saying he ate soap. Even I, with my unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, took only a single bite.
But that begs the question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of any food on the table.
An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo, and one that furnishes us with the answer we seek. For London's foul soap is best smeared by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of that plate.
Miss Chums is still pushing the soap argument, then?
Perhaps he's suggesting that the man licked the soap rather than ate it.
If soap in London is that poisonous, I don't think I want to be washing my hands with it. But there are no signs of any food in this room at all.
Of course, food isn't the only thing that passes people's lips, is it?
Guess we... Yes, a Western vessel for the serving of infusions of dried tea leaves. That's a complicated way to describe it.
It's a teacup, Mr. Naruhodo, as you well know. Stop putting on airs. And it's empty.
Ah, so we've already established that the victim wasn't eating soap when he died. However, there's significant evidence to suggest that he was drinking tea.
My thoughts exactly.
Fuck! Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the teacup.
Indeed. Taps have been the vessel of choice for practicing poisoners over the centuries.
Sounds like a job description. I'm a practicing poisoner.
it would appear that the victim drank every last drop. Yeah, a lot of practice, the interns just die on when they try the poison is good enough.
Yeah. There's no sign of food anywhere in the room. The way he just
Which leads us to the immutable conclusion.
That was a great appearing from...
The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to the ingestion of poison contained in the teacup. Yes, indubitably. Poison in the tea. Solved.
I guess that makes this a mortar now.
By numbers?
Maybe.
Because of that identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question.
But more likely murder by poison.
Was this suicide or murder? But what if it was cold calculated? The audience will recall that death occurred during the victim's last supper.
If you measured it, it's definitely a murder by numbers.
Did the man die and die alone? The single teacup appears the answer.
Ah, the Western vessel for infused hot drinks again. It's already featured heavily in our deductions so far.
Yes, we can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Shakespeare was having a drink of tea. There'll be nothing remarkable about that. Oh, it troubles me.
Miss Onesimus' reaction when he heard Sholmes suggest it. There's more to this deduction than it seems.
We must closely examine the scene of the crime again for some more clues.
There's a second cup somewhere. Oh wait, he's holding it! I can see it. What? Huh?
It's a magic trick.
It's another Western vessel for infused... It's a teacup!
And it too is empty.
I love how long he keeps that gag going.
Yep.
Ah, he's such a joker, he is. Given that he's actually holding this one in his hand.
We can assume that this is the cup from which Mr. Shakespeare was actually drinking.
So Zato, each time you just like, you dance.
Yeah. She does the Paimon thing.
Yeah. Oh, you want to do it?
Yes. There we go. But if that's the case, this changes everything. Everything with the two sub to now is turned on its head! I have a bad feeling about this. I almost don't want to say it.
Yes, I know exactly how you feel.
Oh yes.
Ha.
The other teacup?
The man dine and die
The man
alone.
die.
This other teacup's
Like-
just the answer. Yes?
Like, I just wanted to say, like, okay, like, if I get found like this, I sometimes use 2 teacups or cups, like.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh my God, he was drinking with someone. No, actually, I just.
Yeah, if you die with those 2 teacups, no. The man dine and die alone. This other teacup suggests, like, you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of I think it was the Sherlock episode where it was something like the BBC Sherlock, where it was like something like that he deduced that I think they were a drug addict based on the fact that, or like they were some kind of like, or some kind of user of some kind of like either alcohol or whatever.
Yeah.
Because like the area around their keyhole was messy, and I'm just like, oh my God, me and my shaky hands.
The area around the keyhole was scratched. That means he has problem with aiming the key. So he has.
Yeah, exactly. So that means that he's an alcoholic or something. Like, that was really funny. Sorry, I just saw something.
Because his nervous system is not working correctly and it's damaged. I remember that too. I still remember that exact one because it was just like.
No, yeah, because it's just like, oh God, autistics with
Right.
motoric issues can all relate here. Get them.
Oh, no. Oh, speaking of autistic with motorics, imagine I was visiting the place where the keyhole for the entry to the house was right above the grate for water drain. So if you didn't aim, it slipped up and fell directly down. It will go to this freaking water drain.
Yes, there were 2 teacups in his room all along. In other words, this is a strong indication that at the victim's last supper,
What's his first?
there was a guest present. I'll be looking for
Why is
it.
Bruce Fairplay here? Why is Bruce Fairplay
Yeah, that
here?
does look like Bruce Fairplay. That's hilarious.
It is Bruce Fairplay.
It's okay to lurk. I love you, Momo.
Oh my god. At the very least, we can say now with certainty that somebody else was here in this room last night. Fucking killed the victim. What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly, unreasonable! To draw a conclusion of such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly.
In which case, what more can we deduce about this possible guest at the table?
Well, allow me to live the vial of doubt, my dear fellow.
You mean to know? Do you mean to say you know exactly who was in this room at the time of the victim's death?
Come on, look up Natsume.
I know, right?
Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock.
I'm not sure I like where this deduction is going now.
I'm
Yep.
afraid it's too back to go back.
See,
I'm afraid it's too late to go back to the halcyon days of eating too much soap.
But the identity of the guest who was in here last night when the victim passed away is something I have a very bad feeling about.
Well, you can try to ignore your feelings, but we cannot ignore the truth, Mr. Naruhodo.
No, I suppose not. Time to look around again.
It's empty.
Empty of liquid, but full of air. That makes you think, doesn't it?
It makes me think that you're full of hot air. We should be thinking about who else was in the room at the time.
Bother. Sato-san's quip in response was cleverer than my original riddle. Book. At first glance, it seems that the only things in this room are the makeshift stage and the costumes. I overlooked these 3 books initially.
I wonder what they are. Let's see. The titles read... The Picture of Monsieur Lecoq, Canterbury Yearnings, and Emile Fukaborio.
Oh goddammit, not these fucking books again! Wait, I'm sure I've heard those titles before.
It could just be an incredible coincidence, but they're the exact same 3 books that Mr. Natsume purchased the other day.
What? Yes, on the day of the unfortunate incident when Miss Green was stabbed. Souseki-san had just been to a bookshop and bought them, that's right.
And now these 3 titles are here in the room of the victim.
Yet Mr. Natsume claims never to have been here before. Jesus Christ.
sorry.
What? What does this mean, do you think?
I really don't know what to make of it.
That was accident, like, I'm not even joking.
I have the feeling it's this. Because there's nothing else here.
They are familiar.
Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the pile of familiar books.
Quite so. It's no mere coincidence that these 3 titles are here in this room. It's the link to the truth. Ah!
Oh my god. Mr. Natsume, you purchased these books 4 days ago at a second-hand bookshop.
That's just coincidence. In that case, you will be able to bring the same 3 titles from your own room, will you not? This very moment. No, never, not negotiable.
If you can't bring your own copies here, it proves that those 3 books are in fact yours.
Oh. Having put
Why is he making such a dumb pose? Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested the very next day. So you could conceivably have brought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned that.
In other words, you could only have brought these 3 books here to the victim's room.
Oh god.
Last night, having returned to your lodging after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey. In short, there is only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in this room last night as the result of poisoning.
And that same night, the victim had a visitor.
And that visitor...
Ah! This is a hilarious image. Was you, Mr.
Was you, Mr. Sausage Nutmeg.
It doesn't even say anything.
Thus concludes the final act of Sherlock Holmes' great deduction.
Fun!
Soseki, Nutmeg, at the scene.
Deduction complete.
Elementsky. Not again, not again, not again. Not again! Well then, Mr. Nutmeg. I'm probably going to have a company on the yard again. But wait. Hold your horses! Yes? Door, key, locks, entry, exit, entirely impossible? Why use many words when few words do?
Why use more words when few words do good? He's so flustered, he's being even stranger than normal.
Oh my god. Wow, you think that's alibi? You could have just made a copy.
What?
Not in the same building after all. They have had plenty of opportunity, I'm sure. But misery me! Sorry, you'll get your chance to give your side of story later. The facts speaks for themselves, Mr. Mustache. Oh, you horrible Sherlock Holmes!
He really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he?
Come on now, not dilly-dallying. Outside, there's a carriage waiting. Lock him stood at Mr. Narwhal Esquire. You never imagine I'd be in this position again, but... You have to help me, please! I'm innocent.
Alright, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it.
And one more thing.
Oh, yes?
My poor little kitty cat. Let's give him a breakfast for me.
He can't be a bad person. And
No,
so...
that's... Okay, listen. I understand that, but no.
Shut up. His evil curse still apparently unbroken. So Osaki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in a case of murder. The last one wasn't a murder! How many... Oh my god. I love that joke! It wasn't a murder!
Yeah, right? But everybody like, no, it wasn't. The victim, the freaking murderer. This is your line.
I know. I just needed to...
Yeah, okay, I just
drink.
like making sure.
Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective.
My dear fellow, that honor belongs to you.
Thank you, Argo. I will drink. Okay, then I will stretch. Stretch. Ah, good stretch. Well, at least that means Inspector Gregson is no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now. They just left the body!
Yep.
Yes, that's right. And of course...
What?
Gregson is like, yeah, we have the culprit. What do we need body for?
I've forgotten what the inspector mentioned before. It was the landlord, Mr. Garrett, who discovered Mr. Shamspeare.
Oh, Mr. John Garrett, yes.
I expect we could find him in his sitting room on the top floor as well.
Right, we must remember to go and talk to him later then. Uh-huh.
Oh, the poor man. So young to die. Do you suppose it was a very painful death, being poisoned as he was?
I don't know. All we can do now is hope that he'll return to be reborn to a better life.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I wonder. Do you think that putting our hands together in a Japanese prayer will help a British soul?
Sorry?
I made sure I had a reference ready for just such an occasion as this, actually.
Welcome back!
This book is entitled The Beginner's Guide to Praying for the Departed, the British Way.
You know,
I'll just
the
reread
book
it
slap
now.
is the
One
best.
moment.
There's quite a spine on that book, isn't there? It's just staying there for like the next 5 hours. It's
Yep.
like a gas meter. And here we have another disproportionately large machine. This looks like a meter of some kind.
Oh, this is a gas meter, I think. It seems that in this district, residents pay for gas as they use it with coins.
Oh, I see. Yes, now you've pointed it out. I can see that there's a slot just here that looks like it would take a coin. So you mean if you put a coin in there?
That's right. That will buy you about 2 hours of gas for lights and heating.
Whoa.
So if you were a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold.
Yes, or if you were a scatterbrain with no change because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank.
Thank goodness there's no meter in our office. True. Look at these extravagant, bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room with its grim, shady goings-on.
This one looks like a king's attire.
A king? I've always dreamt of being a king.
Oh, I think you'd be more suited to a feudal lord, a daimyo or such like.
With a chonmage top knot? Every Japanese man wishes he had a chonmage.
Oh, you'd look wonderful with one, and you already have
No.
the sword.
No.
Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around in the streets of London with a chonmage and a sword? This
No.
conversation just went off the rails. Is that like were they not discussing
Ouchie's
about
crying.
what?
Ouchie's crying.
Yeah.
Oh, one of the teacups that Mr. Shamesby and his guest drank from last night. But don't go drinking from them, Mr. Naruhodo. There's better portion inside.
I'm not planning on drinking any, don't worry. Anyway, the cups are both empty.
That's true. So, one was Mr. Shamespeare's, and the other must be the cup that Mr. Natsume was drinking from.
But Solstice-san wasn't poisoned, of course. Perhaps we should take these so we can examine them in more detail later. Lovely. Pairs of teacups have been entered into the court record. Yep.
This is some sort of makeshift stage, I think, isn't it?
What does the audience sit, though, for the nightly Shakespeare performances?
Actors aspiring to the great stage must practice their art, Mr. Naruhodo, with or without an audience. In fact, on a related note, perhaps you should set up a mock bench for the defense in your office.
What?
Then you could practice your art every single day.
But I'm bored. I'll think about it. If you promise to don a beard and play the role of the judge.
Well, if that would help you achieve your goal.
This I have to see! I have to see it. Susie! My god. Okay, is that everything? Oh, there's a wig. Oh really? That isn't interesting enough for you?
There's not much in these shelves, is there? Just this wine glass and bottle. And both of them are cracked.
Yes, not much use, are they? What's the matter?
Oh, I was just reminded of the Reaper, that's all.
Prosecutor Lord Van Seeks.
Yes, he's so reckless with his wine glasses. I was thinking it's a waste and that he should donate some to the needy.
You hear that? She's calling out your ethics! Van Seeks!
Wow.
You can suggest it next time we meet. That'd be hilarious. Is that everything? I think that was everything. Maybe the lamp? This is a gas wall light, isn't it? It must be connected to a gas pipe in the wall.
Gas lights, a gas stove. London really is a city of gas.
But now that you think about it, Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb had an open fire on the top floor, didn't they?
Oh, yes, you're right. I don't recall seeing a gas stove up there.
Well, I much prefer a real fire anyway. It's so much cozier. I see. Yeah, I don't think... We examined him... Oh, maybe the window.
This way seen from the outside, the window is completely bricked up. A vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay.
What strange things they used to tax in Great Britain. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property. It's extraordinary.
It's heartbreaking to think of the poor having to block up their windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax. Oh!
What is it, Miss Sutton?
If you look closely, a number of the bricks are loose.
Yeah, you're right. Wah! More so. Oh, yes, it looks as though an amateur has broken out a few of them just here. Was it Mr. Shamespeare who did it, I wonder, being the lodger renting this room?
Oh, look at this, Mr. Nenehuddle. On the outside, there's a little ledge. And there's something on it.
What? Outside? I saw it. It was like soap. Look.
Ugh, so cold outside. You can feel it through the gap.
It did snow all last night. It would be cold. But more importantly, what is it on the ledge out there? What are those snow-covered lumps?
It's more bars of soap.
Soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on a ledge outside the window?
I have no idea. But the pair of them look rather charming like that.
Still, that's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lying out outside the window. I think perhaps you should take one. There are two, after all.
Oh dear. I suppose we could. Oh, what's this? Look here at the soap. Ah. You see? In the middle there? There's a patch that's a different color. It's sort of transparent, but...
some sort of fancy design, I suppose. Only in Great Britain.
Looks like the Hinobata flag of Japan, doesn't it? How wonderful. It's probably a very expensive brand.
Expensive? Then what's it doing in this ramshackle old room? I know, right? The bar soap has been entered into the court record. How quaint! I think that was everything, right?
Yep.
No.
What's this?
It looks like part of an envelope, I think.
Yes, I think you may be right. Perhaps it was torn off and the letter was open.
Is that significant?
Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps, when you look around the room. There's no sign of a letter, or the rest of the envelope, in fact, is there?
Ah, she's right.
And what about B?
And yet, here we have the torn off edge of an envelope.
Edge?
Edge.
It just strikes me as unusual.
You don't say.
It's not unusual.
I agree. We better take this just in case. Okay, now I think we've seen everything. Oh, gee. Yeah, okay.
Oh, G?
I was just yawning. If...
Looks like you're having a good snap around, eh?
Yeah, okay, it was Greggy.
It's me and the boys.
Back so soon.
After I threw that little Japanese fella in a clink, I went and reported this to the investigation division. In 5 minutes' time, this place will be cordoned off by the yard.
Yeah, it's okay. You can do it, Pep. Oh, gee. Okay. Oh, I see. Well, we better be leaving then.
Poor Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low, being back in the cell again so soon.
I'm sure we should probably go. He's more.
What's wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
Who gets him?
It took him before.
Okay.
Out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player. That struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. Now, how soundeth the next part?
That's mood, Momo. That's mood.
Yeah, I cannot.
It's a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Indeed! Oh, happy day! I love this scene! It never gets old! Walking Dead! Yes.
The fella isn't dead at all?
He isn't dead!
That's why he was warm? Not because it was a fresh body, but he was alive?
He died, but he got better.
Like, listen, when he said, it couldn't be a long time ago, the body is still warm.
Yeah, exactly. He was just alive. He was just alive. What was that nonsense he was saying, though?
Eto.
I think it was from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. A
What is
soliloquy
William
from Act
Shakespeare?
5, Scene 5.
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare.
Me too. I'm just a heavy sleeper. Oh my god. So it was. So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shakespeare, came back to life. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment, and Inspector Gregson evicted us from the scene of the crime, whatever that now was. He's fine. He died, but he got better. It's okay. Oh, it's the dude from last game.
It's the bee.
31st of February, Briar Road. Yeah, he does look like.
Whatever do you think will happen now?
Good question. What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume. Arrested for a murder, but then the victim comes back to life.
I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. It seems very likely that Mr. Shakespeare did consume poison, as we deduced.
Natsume cannot finish the job. First
But
he
was
fails to kill
was
Olive.
it an accident, attempted suicide, or attempted murder? Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody.
I suppose so. Let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. Oh, what's this?
I want to visit Mr. Natsume. Who? Natsume. Oh, this guy.
Ah, that guy. What's that man doing over there? He looks like he's trying to see into Soseki-san's lodgings.
Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
Excuse me, could we have a word?
Ah.
Yeah, you're him.
Skedaddle.
Skedoodle! He just skedaddled.
I feel sure that I've seen that man somewhere before. Where was it?
Literally yesterday. I do too, but I don't remember. Well, a few days ago. Here, he was arguing with Shakespeare. Surprisingly hard to forget when you play them back to back.
Yep.
There always seems to be a bicycle outside the Garrett residence. I read that bicycles are extremely popular all over Great Britain at the moment, in fact.
That one seems very warped, though, especially the front wheel. Is that to make it more of a challenge to ride, do you think?
No, I'm afraid that may be the result of the rider's incompetence. For the front wheel to be so badly warped, I'm afraid the rider may have been similarly afflicted.
Then there's a good chance Mr. Natsume has been practicing on this bicycle, I think.
Oh dear. You may be right.
I see.
You might be right.
With the exception of the top floor, where Mr. and Mrs. Garrett live, all the windows are bricked up.
Yes, that's because of an old window tax that was charged on the number of windows a property had. In order to pay less tax, the poorer members of society filled in many of their windows.
But the tax has since been abolished, hasn't it? So the windows could all be opened up again, surely.
Unfortunately, it would appear that the residents of this district can't afford to pay to have the work done.
Yes, that is a sad state of affairs.
Especially for people like poor Mr. Natsume, who have to live all cooped up in a windowless room.
I suppose that's the price you pay for living in very cheap accommodation.
It all seems rather pointless when you put it like that.
The Garrett household and Mr. Natsume's lodgings are in prominent position there on the corner. Sometimes when I look at the building, I can't help feeling that it's at a bit of a slant. Yeah, you're right.
It does rather look as though it would collapse in even the smallest earthquake, doesn't it?
And isn't it supposed to be haunted as well? I think I might have a hunch as to why Soseki-san is such a hunched back. It's the stress of it all. Look, there's the crystal tower. London's blanketed in fog again today, and the sky's covered in cloud. But if you look carefully in the distance, you can just make out the Crystal Tower being built.
Oh, the Crystal Tower, yes. The centerpiece of the Great Exhibition that's to open in 6 months' time.
Everyone's talking about the Great Exhibition of London at the moment, it seems.
Well, it's to be the largest event of its kind anywhere in the world, with technology and scientists from all over. I can't wait for it myself.
Do you think visiting students from the Far East like us will be granted entry?
The last Great Exhibition that was held in London had more than 6 million visitors, it seems. And this time, the British are determined to make it an even bigger success to outdo the Paris Exposition.
I see. It's an incredible number of people. And with so many people expected to attend, we should easily be able to slip in unnoticed.
That's always the honest approach of buying tickets to the main entrance, Mr. Naruhodo. Just get the tickets, Mr. Naruhodo.
I didn't mean to click. I hate when that happens.
Yeah. You hate to see it happen.
Oh, look at him!
It's snowy!
Why has somebody built a snowman on some sort of pedestal, do you think?
That's not a pedestal, Mr. Naruhodo. That's part of the snowman's body.
Really? But it already has a perfectly good body.
Well, it's true that the British snowmen are usually made with 2 balls of snow, perhaps this is a foreigner.
And now we're looking at him as if he's strange. Poor man! I know how he feels.
If anything, it's Japanese's British 2-ball snowman that are the strange one, isn't it? After all, real people do have 3 sections: head, torso, and legs.
Do you ever think that perhaps you think about things too much? Wow, basically anything that gets close to that area triggers the conversation. That's intense. Well, I guess that was all for this. Let's go. He just came back to fucking life. That's so funny. Jennifer's the Garrett's room. Here we are again, the eccentric landlord's eccentric top-floor abode.
We're here because Mr. Garrett's the one who discovered the incident this morning, don't forget.
There he is. Just go.
Ah, you chaps, eh?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Thank you for your cooperation in cards yesterday.
It was quite a trial. As much for Mr. Garrett as anyone, really.
Came straight back here after all that business at the Bailey yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up more bally nonsense this morning.
I wonder if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garrett.
Yes, it was 20 years ago. I was still a merely... I suppose you'd like to know all about that loss of an actor chap in the ground floor room.
Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's words, weren't they?
Yeah.
I quite like that he stands now. Sort of showing that he's like different. Should we examine?
I'm not Sun anymore. I'm just empty.
We know what that screen is hiding now. The aftermath of the fiery altercation the other day.
Don't suppose I'll be able to clean that mess up for some time now.
Oh dear, this must be a very difficult situation for you.
If only had a maid. I say people talk about twist of fate and whatnot. But this is a twist and a half. I don't show all around.
He's clearly struggling with everything that's happened. That's an impressive collection of cakes on that fancy silver cake stand there.
I feel sure it was full of cakes when we first investigated here as well.
Yes, quite right. Haven't touched since.
Ew.
Haven't done much at all really since it all happened. Time's rather stood still for me, you know.
Oh!
Time has stood still. Now that's an interesting phrase. I might be able to use that excuse when I'm next supposed to be tidying the office.
you could just tidy up, Mr. Nedahuddle, please.
Nothing particular of note. Really? Nothing? Okay. Okay, that worked. These shelves look like they've been completely torn apart by a wild beast.
Reminds me of the Battle of Maiwand, don't you know?
Oh, the experiences of a seasoned veteran.
Then we had us surrounded on all sides. Really thought we were done for. The whole body company. We were taking a real pounding from their cannons, so all we could do was run for our lives.
Oh, I thought the story was going in a different direction. Actually.
Well, the whole experience taught me one thing, I can tell you. When you're done for, you're really done for.
Ugh, that's not what a lawyer who often finds himself under fire wants to hear. Good to see Mr. Garrett's Medal of Honor is still proudly displayed on the wall.
The inscription reads, for distinguished participation, if you remember.
Yes, I remember. Because I remember thinking even I might stand a chance of picking up honors like that.
Wouldn't know it to look at me now, perhaps, but I had my Devil May Cry days, you know. I was Dante.
Ah, yes. Devil May Care? What did you get up to?
Huh. Well, I'm in the past now, of course, and best left there. Yes.
Best not? I want to know now! Tell me... Holds out hand, please.
Hand in hand.
No.
No. You okay?
Yes.
You sure?
It's just my phone. Ah yes, those enormous mortar shells. It's quite something seeing them up close, isn't it?
Didn't you say something about firing them onto the barracks, Mr. Garrett?
Ah, you remember, do you? Just a little mishap that occurred during training one day. What are you doing? Firing on your own men? The captain bellowed at me.
I'm not surprised. A little mishap doesn't really do it justice, does it? Really doesn't.
Well, one has these little incidents when it's one hot-headed young private.
Perhaps I should put some evidence that resulted from one of my little mishaps on display. Hilarious.
Oh, does the great lawyer, like the great detective, want to exhibit some trophies of his finest moments?
No. Jacket.
That's your military uniform, isn't it, Mr. Garrett?
Well, ceremonial garb, yes. Been hanging on the wall ever since my retirement bash. Not in active service now, you know. Doesn't mean much to me anymore. You could have the old thing if you wanted it.
Well, it might suit Lord Seeks, perhaps.
Though a bit...
An overly ostentatious outfit like this could be just what he needs.
Very tactful, Miss Subtle. Very tactful indeed. There's a single apron drying on that enormous cannon-shaped clothes horse. Look.
No, Mr. Nedahuddle. That's a real cannon.
I knew that. I was just testing you.
Piece of history, that is. Seen plenty of action on the battlefield, I can tell you. Now the old girl and I are just enjoying the peace and quiet of retirement together. And of course, should come in handy if the enemy decide to launch an attack again.
Is there a war going on that I don't know about?
In your head.
Oh, a copy of Rand's magazine. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes is being read all over London. Isn't it wonderful?
Naturally, one asks oneself if such singular detective could really exist. Is he real? Does it make sense? But having met the chap is undeniable. He is most certainly singular. Singularly dangerous.
That's a fair assessment. That's genuine public opinion for you, Mrs. Sato. Perhaps it should be reflected in the stories.
Make no mistake, Mr. Naruhodo. I intend to snuff out the sort of public opinion we just heard personally.
I'm starting to see where Mr. Sholmes' untainted reputation comes from now. I think that was everything. Yeah. Oh, never mind. You look very dashing in your uniform there, Mr. Garrett. Oh, it's the picture, not the lion. Okay.
Ah, that old portrait, drawn by an art student who used to rent the room downstairs.
Oh, you look so wonderfully young and courageous and strong.
Yes, well, the chap presented it to me one day and asked if I let him off the month's rent in return.
Oh, I see. So, you did, presumably.
I bloody well did not.
Oh, gee.
A portrait is a portrait, but rent is rent, eh?
And yet it's still there proudly on the wall. Okay, I think it was an art student, huh? It must have been a real shock for you this morning. I heard that you discovered what had happened.
Ah, well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail. But at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas. I went down and knocked on his door, but nobody answered.
And that's when you broke into his room by kicking down the door?
Well, I called on that one-looking Japanese chap to do the groundwork, of course.
Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have just overslept by half an hour.
That's very true, Mr. Naruhodo. If 30 minutes of oversleeping warranted such behavior, I'd have to kick your door down every morning!
Well, you know, better to be safe than sorry and all that.
Is it just me, or is he avoiding your gaze now all of a sudden?
Except that it was a sorry situation indeed that you found on the far side of the door.
No. The victim's name is Mr. Shakespeare, is that right?
Yes, William Shakespeare. Took the ground floor room 3 months ago now.
And how would you describe him?
In a word, destitute.
Destitute?
Well, let's face it, the only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone wanting to live in a place like that is either broke or has a body screw loose.
So hard to choose which category Soseki-san would fall into. I feel like he's broke.
Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude.
He was doing research as well.
Research? Into what?
Shakespeare, of course. Shakespeare! Read a few plays of the old bard myself, you know. Romeo and Hamlet and all that.
Well, that sounds like a great adaptation. Romeo and Hamlet. Just like a mashup of the stories.
I'm not sure if it will go as we would expect.
I think it would be fun to see what would happen if you tried to mash those two stories.
Oh my god.
And make an adaptation called Romeo and Hamlet. I'm still thinking about the Chris Pratt thing! That's why Mario's on my mind.
Hey, it's me, Mario.
Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. He's known as Sao in Japanese, as you know, and many of his works have already been translated.
That is true. It seems incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to Sao, though. Someone was too heavy-handed there. There were a lot of costumes in the victim's room, actually, weren't there?
Of course, Mr. Nutsum is a scholar of English literature as well. I imagine he and Mrs. Shamesbury would have had much in common.
Shakespeare interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder. Let's hope it's not that.
Mr. Naruhodo, really, how rude.
After Mr. Nutsum's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between then and this morning?
Well now, it must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily as I remember, and it was completely dark already. That failed actor chap was out at the time.
Surprising. Mr. Guard have noticed there was some no light from his room or something, I suppose.
Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up there. It was after 8 before Shamspeare got back. And the chap was up until past 1 in the morning, I'll have you know. Suppose he met his end sometime after that. I was asleep by 10, so I'm rather in the dark there.
Well, thank you. That was very illuminating. Is everything alright, Mrs. Sutton?
Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, that's all.
How you can know so precisely?
Mr. Garrett, you're up here in your room all evening, I've understood correctly?
Not a big fan of stairs, not with that blasted leg.
Then, how is it that you seem to know? The precise movements of your tenant on the ground floor, I mean.
Ah!
No, don't fall. That's a very good point. I can't imagine that you could hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants? Is that it?
I say, I know what you're thinking. It's a body outrage. I'm ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spying on my tenants. Why would I?
And how did you know, Mr. Garrett?
It's the gas woman. The gas tells me everything.
The gas?
Yes, it whispers in my ear during nights.
Speaking gas? What on earth do you mean, sir? How can the gas tell you anything, let alone everything?
Well, as you're probably aware, the gas is supplied to the building by pipes.
Yes, I more or less worked that out.
Every room in the building is connected by a single pipe to the gas main outside. And the gas company supplies gas to properties via the main.
Yes, I understand that too.
Let's see if I can explain. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps up here. What do you suppose would happen?
Well, obviously the room would get brighter.
Exactly. But at the same time, the lights in all other rooms on the house would dim for a moment.
What? They dim? Why?
Perhaps it's because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual. And that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for other lamps that are connected to it. That might explain why the other lamps dim momentarily, mightn't it?
Yes, of course. Because everything's connected by to a single supply pipe.
What's that supposed to happen, though? Sounds rather undesirable.
Jolly good point. Fact is, the gas company pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless, long worn out. And barely got any gas in them to start with. Opposite's also true, of course. Extinguish the lamps up here and they glow brighter in the rest of the house.
Ah, right, I see. So by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere.
You've got it.
Oh, of course, because when people come back home in the evening and before they go to sleep at night, what they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out the lamps and fires.
Clever.
In point of fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above, it used slightly different amount of gas. By watching the lights in here closely, I can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house.
Gosh! That's fascinating, Mr. Garrett. Absolutely fascinating.
I'm still kind of spying, but...
Oh, well, nothing to it, really.
And I can't really see that it's going to help us with the case either. Oh, it definitely will, now that we've mentioned it. But I'd like to know. That's why Mr. Garrett was so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place. I feel like there's more to it than idle curiosity. Well, we've done as much investigating here as we can, I think. Pass me out to go to the prison and speak with Mr. Natsume again.
A good idea.
Oh dear. Hmm. "21st of February. Local prison, cell 9.
Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Natsume, have the police finished questioning you now?
Welcome to the Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Oh, yes.
What is he? Tell me. Is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me?
Let me guess, you're talking about Mr. Sholmes?
He actually calls himself a great detective, Mr. Natsume, not a ghost.
But his diabolical deductions, they're not of this world. They've left me. Ah, cursed. I'm cursed, I tell you.
Well, that sort of hurts.
Whatever credit is due, Mr. Naruhodo. You were heavily involved with deduction, too.
Yes, moving on. We have some wonderful news.
Oh?
The victim we all thought was death. Dead has come back to life again.
Now, in the absolutely worst case, you could be tried for attempted murder. That's great, isn't it? Mr. Natsume?
It's terrible.
Oh!
I'm stuck in the cell, suffering for some silly, wrong end of the stick. You did it, didn't you? Confess, you're a killer. Why the mustache? Constant questions.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Ah, that selfish shyster. Make up your mind. Are you dead or alive? If you were going to come back to life, why bother dying? Wickedly, wishy-washy, William.
Well, it seems likely that Mr. Shakespeare was never actually dead in the first place.
Yes, that might make sense. And I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was much fun. It'd be sad to think it was our last.
Oh!
Oops.
Mr. Natsume, does this mean that you did see the victim last night? You met with Mr. Shakespeare, didn't you? Just tell us. We will find out.
I'm not saying another word. I demand to have a lawyer present.
Who do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsume, we need to hear your side of the story.
I'm a curse like this.
I'm kind of like debating whether we should end here for today, because it's probably gonna
Yeah,
take...
I think, like, yeah.
Yeah, I think a good time
That's
as
a
any.
decent spot.
Because I think we might be railroaded after we finish this convo.
Yeah, and then it will be probably the trial part.
Exactly. So I think it's a good place to end here for today. We'll hear her story tomorrow.
Yep.
Also, we're just the two of us. So there's that part too. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow for more of this bullshit.
Yeah.
Glad he wasn't
Wicked
dead.
Adventures.
Yeah. Glad he wasn't dead, I guess.
Wishy-washy William.
Wishy-washy William, who can't decide if he's dead or alive. How interesting. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. See you guys tomorrow. Hopefully we're more than two tomorrow. Good night. Oyasamina.
Oyasamina.